Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Miss TV Total Football. Is it over? Is it over for Pep Guardiola? I did say post the Spurs defeat last weekend that defeat, what implications can it have on Manchester City? Because I have to be honest, Manchester City did nothing against Spurs. Not to say that Spurs were unbelievable or anything like that. They were just well organized, compact, and they had a plan, and they executed the plan nicely away from home. And that's about it. It wasn't as if Spurs showed me a new side of them, which is very fearful, because this weekend Spurs got beat. They got beat by Bournemouth. So I knew exactly what I was seeing. But I was very, very dubious. I was very, very concerned about what I saw from Manchester City at their home ground. And I thought, looking at this fixture against Brighton, I was very concerned for Manchester City. I was like, you know what? I think that loss against Spurs have reignited all the issues from last season. Everything that we saw last season, it felt like maybe with all the transfers that Manchester City they've done over the past couple of windows, this window and the last one, that maybe, just maybe, they've turned a corner. They had a decent enough preseason. The Club World Cup didn't go the way they planned. They got beat by Al Hilal. Al Hilal was amazing, but started off the season with Wolves absolutely spanking them, Rangers, this, that, the other. And I thought, you know what? Maybe they're back. Maybe Pep Guardiola don't want to repeat what has happened last season. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Brighton to Manchester City. Did I say Man United? Sorry. Manchester City won. It's incredible. It is incredible. I'm starting to think this might be the end game. This might be the end of Pep Guardiola, I feel, because honestly, one of the biggest indicators of when a team is probably, out in terms of its expiration date is when oppositions, rivals just don't fear Manchester City anymore. That's how I see it. Rivals, they rock up against Manchester City and they feel like, you know what, we're fair game. We are fair game. If we can maintain a tight defense, Manchester City, if you have a look at the goals that was scored, that Brighton scored against Manchester City, especially the winner from Gruda, they were so wide open. And this is the thing, Manchester City, they play with a high line, and when they're chasing the game, and even when they're not chasing the game at times, they like to throw bodies up front. And then if you are able to nick the ball off them and then rush quickly to outnumber them, generally they have 2 or 3. If you can outnumber them by 4 or 5 fast players, it'll catch them out, because the recovery pace from some of their players is not good enough. They're not they're not returning back in defensive duties quickly enough. James Trafford has saved Manchester City badly in this game. Badly. Brighton probably should have scored a lot more in the second half. Incredible. For me, look, it will be interesting to see how Pep Guardiola now, shapes up, or how he, adjusts. This is the thing. Pep Guardiola won't. He believes in a certain way. These managers, they became successful for a reason, because they believed in their work. So all of a sudden now, they're not going to turn around and say, oh, I don't believe in my work, because then they're going to lose the players as well. Then none of them will buy in. But something needs to be done. The way he's playing, and it's not even about Rodri or anything, even when Rodri's around, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me have a look just quickly. I'm pretty certain Rodri was there today. Just bear with me 1 second. Hey, Rodri was there. So what excuse are we going to give now? It's not just about Rodri. And I think post-match Rodri did say that it's not just about me returning back. The rest of my team have to help out as well. Gone are those days where Manchester City can suffocate you, can box you in, and wave after wave of attacks. I mean, that still happens, but teams are willing to soak that pressure up and defend well, concentrate. But what the teams are doing a lot better now is they're waiting for that opportunity to sneak the ball and then pounce with pace and number. This is probably going to happen to Manchester City a lot, unless they say to themselves, you know what? we can't just throw the kitchen sink all the time. We can't just have, and this is the problem. I think what Manchester City, they're relying upon 1v1 defending. And some of their defenders are probably not the greatest at the moment for 1v1 defending. If you leave two defenders and a central midfielder, you also have your fullbacks bombing forward. You better hope that your defenders and your central midfielder is very good 1v1 and in fact can cover a lot of ground. You look at the way Caicedo for Chelsea Football Club, the amount of ground he covers, he's almost like two players. You need that level of, attributes. And I feel like some of these defenders and also the midfielders, they just don't have it anymore to do that. I think one of the plays that Manchester City has neglected is their defense. They needed some robust defenders and, new set of robust defenders who are physical, who are, a bit of a freak when it comes to athleticism. And they're missing that. They're missing that. Honestly, I see Pep Guardiola, this is going to become a huge, huge problem. And maybe, just maybe, this is the end. This is the end that we are seeing. Because all the stuff that we saw last season, it's now coming back. It is now fully coming back. And Spurs triggered it again this season, off the back of the win last week. And now Fabian Hutzler has carried her on. And then Brighton, as I said, could have scored more. This should have been a blowout. Manchester City could have lost this game by a big margin. It doesn't matter if you are attack heavy up front for Manchester City. If the opposition are well-drilled, well-disciplined, coached, they can keep away Haaland, Marmoush, and so on and so forth. Reinders, if you can just make it very congested in the middle of the park. All you got to do is then break. And Brighton have that. Minte was a problem. Huge problem for Manchester City. So look, I'm keen to see after the international break what happens to Manchester City, but I think they're in big trouble. I'm starting to think that defense, that midfield, even Rodri won't be able to help out. This problem that they have right now is far deep, man. Far, far deep. And I'm not sure whether Pep Guardiola can bring them back. I know you should never say, you should never, doubt Pep Guardiola, but everything comes to an end, man. Eventually, everything comes to an end. And maybe, just maybe, Pep Guardiola, the way he sets up, the way he plays, it's evolved. And unfortunately, maybe Pep hasn't evolved in time to combat how others are now playing against Manchester City. Almost every team off the back of last season, and now the continuation of this season, it looks like teams simply don't fear Manchester City and they feel like they are even game. They feel like they can get them. And that is a huge problem for Pep Guardiola. I'm certain they've now had 2 losses in a row, back-to-back losses, only 1 win out of the 3 matches, 3 points. They're dwindling in that lower part of the table. I am certain Manchester City will not allow for this to continue the way they allowed last season, even though last season Manchester City romped back in, ended up finishing still 3rd, but a massive distance from 1st and 2nd. So let's see what happens this season. One to look out for, but I personally feel maybe the end is here for Pep Guardiola. Let me know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, especially the Manchester City fans as well in the comment section, what you think about that, and also the rival fans and any footballing fans. Just comment below what you think about Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Is it over? Is it over? Let me know. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, take care. See ya.